Flyers' star young goaltender Carter Hart is once again linked to the Montreal Canadiens amidst the Habs' goaltending fiasco. We're going to be getting into that. Plus, Cole Caufield and coach Marty St. Louis have impressive words talking about Juraj Slafkovsky and what is expected of him this season and how to make sure they're getting the best out of him. You'll want to stick around for all of that on this edition of Habs Digest. But before all that, Jesse, we got to talk about the newest Habs bromance, and it's been revealed, and it's not who you expect. It's Coach Marty and Kent Hughes. Yes, we knew they were friends. Of course, they're always around each other. But look at them, arms around each other, and you gotta think it's Coach Marty's quads that are drawing Kent Hughes in, right? It's this bromance it was meant to be, but in all seriousness, I feel like that GM to coach relationship is lost on a lot of NHL teams, right? Where the coaches might not have the impact on what who the GM wants to sign, or the GM maybe doesn't have the impact on the coach's decision making. I feel like these two having this level of friendship, being so friendly around each other, joking around with each other constantly in these interviews, I feel like that can be nothing but an amazing thing for the future of the Montreal Canadiens.
It's so true. Yes, Kent and Marty were spotted taking many a selfie during our most recent golf tournament together. But no, it's great to just see that friendship, off the ice as well, and everything else like that. Just that friendship, right? It seems like we just have good chemistry. It's such a close team as the players, but just so nice to see also with the head coach and with the GM as well. And you have to feel, when they're playing some golf, they're maybe talking some business. And I think, Kent Hughes is listening to what Marty St. Louis has to say about this, this direction of this team. And I think rightfully so. He's a great hockey mind and everything else like that. So great to see them getting along so well.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think that this level of front office / coach chemistry is maybe rubbing off on the players a bit too? Or maybe it's the players rubbing off on the management? I don't know, but it just really feels like the Montreal Canadiens right now are this one cohesive unit with every player, every coach, and every piece of management all working together to try and make the best team that they possibly can.
Yeah, I think with any organization, kind of starts at the top with the leadership. And, we see with Kent Hughes and then also with Jeff Gordon, having just that great relationship. They were friends too. They weren't afraid to say it, but they felt like this is something that was important, and even kind of when choosing who they want to work with, they wanted to have, somebody that they had good chemistry with. And I think that's very much the same reason why they brought Martin St. Louis on. And I think that's very much, it was, very well thought out that this is the culture of the team that we want. We want a positive environment. We want accountability, but we also want to have some fun, and we want to keep it positive as well, which is great for results as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's really cool to see, and just always nice to see when different members of the organization are getting along. Jesse, let's move on to, again, more other people. We always have great segues between these segments, right? More people getting along, and it's Slafkovsky getting crazy support from not only his teammates, but also the coaching staff. And this quote from Caufield that we're going to get into is just so mature in my mind. So Caufield says that him and Slaf were in communication a bunch this summer, and he thinks he's in a good space, and he knows what he's got to do, and he wants to do it. It's just about keeping him level-headed so he doesn't get too high or low on himself, because he's a great player. He knows what he got to do, and they picked him first overall for a reason. Now, this is incredibly mature from Cole Caufield, right? And Coach Marty kind of reflected these sentiments. Coach Marty said something that is maybe even more impressive to hear. I know there's a lot of expectation, but he's got to have pleasure. You can... Interesting quote. Maybe that's true. I don't... Anyway, we want to help him out as much as we can. All right, Marty. In a timely fashion. But while we do that, we got to be careful of killing his passion, because he loves the game. If we ask too much of him too early and kill his passion, when you kill someone's passion, they start getting bitter because they don't like it anymore. Jesse, these two quotes to me are just like, I feel like I couldn't have asked for a better situation surrounding Juraj Slafkovsky heading into this season. For them to know that, I mean, this guy's young, right? It's not often a player of his skill level makes the NHL this young, and managing emotions and state of mind is incredibly important for someone his age. And I feel like everyone, even like the 23-year-old Cole Caufield, is saying this thing about Slav. So I think he's in a great position to succeed.
Yeah, it seems like our young star in the making, Juraj Slafkovsky, is getting great support, not just from his teammates, but from the coach as well. Seems like on all angles, right? So seems like, he's being put in a position to succeed. And it's great that Cole Caufield has really taken the opportunity to kind of step up and speak to him, because they could end up being line mates in the future. Developing that chemistry again, both on and off the ice, is important. Talking during the summer, just checking in. And again, like you said, nice for Cole Caufield to kind of step into that leadership role of just kind of checking in and mentioning how important it's just just important to be there for your teammates, kind of when they need a little pat, on the back or whatever, just a little bit of encouragement, but then, also keeping them level-headed too, right? That it's a course of a long season. I think that's kind of, you don't want to get too high on yourself in the NHL, but you don't want to get too low on yourself either. So himself with having such, great success in the NHL, he's the type of player that Juraj Slafkovsky is going to listen to. These words matter to him a lot. So I think it'll definitely help him a lot this year. We know so much of the game is mental.
Yeah, for sure. And Slafkovsky is definitely not someone who lacks a lot of confidence, but you got to think again, it's an emotional hockey game, right? Especially when you're the first overall pick with all these expectations. It's definitely pretty easy to get down on yourself if you're not producing, let alone having a season-ending injury in your rookie year. But we're looking forward to seeing what Slav can produce, and let's just hope they don't kill his confidence, because it certainly looks like they won't. But yeah, super excited for Slav. But Jesse, this is the interesting stuff. Again, look, this is not the first time we've heard Carter Hart's name in rumors with the Montreal Canadiens, but they're definitely escalating. These rumors are picking up more and more and more, especially as the days go on, with Kent Hughes confirming again yesterday, just rehashing the same thing, saying out loud again, we're open to trading Casey DeSmith. These rumors are coming and coming and coming, and Flyers Insider made a post today talking about a potential trade via Bleacher Report. So Dylan Robillard, this is from Bleacher Report, the trade that he's putting here. The Habs receive Carter Hart for Allen or DeSmith, probably DeSmith, a 2025 second-round pick, and a promising prospect. Now, as you can see, the overwhelming majority of the polls say the Flyers decline. However, Jesse, I think this heavily depends on who that promising prospect is for Montreal, because a quick reminder, Carter Hart only has this year left on his deal, and he has also said, at least in numerous articles and rumors have suggested at least, that he may not be content with the Flyers' current state, might not want to commit long-term. And guess what? He's a restricted free agent after this year. That's the Kent Hughes special. Depending on the prospect and depending on his state with the Flyers and whether or not he says, listen, I'm open to staying, or hey, I want you to ship me out, I feel like this could be a buy low with like extremely high reward for the Montreal Canadiens.
It absolutely could. And if you're Kent Hughes, who's still trying to figure out his 1A situation in the future, you absolutely need to be considering this by all means. And I'm curious, what, the Habs Digest community kind of thinks. Like, I'm kind of torn myself, like, do we go for the established kind of goalie for our 1A, or do we go in very much a possible star in the making in Carter Hart, right? And I find myself, the more that I kind of think about it, it's almost like the writing's on the wall, though, for Carter Hart, or should I say that the stars are aligned? Because let's look at some things that they have in common here. Both, young Canadian guys from the West, both won gold for Canada at the World Junior Championship, both 6'3". Well, actually, Carter Hart 6'2", but pretty close. Like, I'm telling you, there's some similarities between these guys. And when we're really looking for that, we were so lucky to have Carey Price. When we're really looking, is it Carter? We go from Carey to Carter. I don't know. But, it just seems to me that if we were so lucky to have Carey Price, if, we're really looking to hit that home run again. And with a goalie like Carter Hart, like, again, Carey Price has very big shoes to fill, but he just might have the pedigree to be able to do that, right? Which obviously would be a dream for any franchise. And you have to feel like Daniel Briere, like, he probably doesn't want to make like a trade at all. Very smart, shrewd GM, as he's shown in his tenure. But the X factor is that Carter Hart might not want to say. He might think, wow, the future would look a lot brighter for me with the Montreal Canadiens right now. And I don't think he'd be so wrong to possibly think that way, kind of grow with a young team, again, around that same age group. Again, it looks like it could be a very good match, but again, Kent Hughes is really going to need to do his research, because it's important to get this right when it comes to our 1A, whether again that established guy or going for that young guy that again has just potential through the roof.
Yeah, he's definitely shown incredible flashes. I'm going to show his stats again. He started off his career very hot. But in the last couple of years, he kind of had a couple down years. But this past season, 22-23, really wasn't bad, especially with that pretty terrible Flyers defense in front of him. Of course, Provorov is solid, but the rest of the D-corps definitely wasn't what you want. He's only 25 years old, and a lot of goalies are only really starting to be full-time good NHLers at this age, while Carter Hart, like 4 or 5 years ago, was already an elite goalie in his first 70-ish games with the Flyers. And Jesse, I mean, your analytics were on point, almost the same height as Price. But may I add my own advanced analytics? Both of their names start with CAR. and both of their last names are one
Right?
syllable. Carter Hart,
Right?
I mean, like, they're the same person. Have
Just
we ever seen them in the same room? Maybe we will if Carter Hart gets traded to the Habs and Price's contract isn't traded out.
he's
So,
back
yeah, like, you never know,
this
right?
whole time.
So yeah, Carey Price is just Benjamin Button. He just shows up for picture day and then goes back to his day job as being the goaltender of the Philadelphia Flyers. But Carter Hart I think has endless potential. And I think still, right, the Flyers are just not a great situation. And if I was playing for them, I wouldn't be motivated either, to be quite honest with you. I mean, that's not a slight on the Flyers organization. It's just the way it is. They haven't been performing. They've had a lot of unfortunate injuries and some questionable signings by ex-GMs, right? So they're trying their best, but I think if Kent Hughes, Jesse, can get the opportunity to go for this, I think Carter Hart is maybe one of the top options for Montreal's 1A of the future.
It's going to be very interesting to monitor. Honestly, the more I think about it, obviously it'd be an incredible tandem. It's this question of who kind of stays with them. You got to feel like probably Carter Hart, and then with Montembeault, I'd be really excited to see that. But like we said, even Martin St. Louis has said that we're probably going to be making a move in the next couple days, whether it comes to our goalie with Casey DeSmith. Like we were talking about when we're kind of doing things, whether it's Jake Allen. Martin St. Louis said within a couple of days, which was very shocking, right? To put such a short timeline. Now, whether he's kind of means more in a week, couple days, week, whatever, it's like you have to feel like something is coming soon. And I think it would be such a great move, obviously, from Kent Hughes. If we're sending out a goalie, we already have so much. We want to get one back, but if we could use kind of some of our goalies that we have right now, whether that's one, most likely one, right? We'd be doing in a trade, but if we could somehow use that to get that 1A for us, would obviously be an amazing move, would be a step in the right direction for this club. So I think definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I'd love if it happened. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on it because, look, I know Carter Hart's not going to be easy to trade for, but the Habs have such a wealth of prospects that they could ship to the Flyers, and maybe just enough of them, maybe just enough picks might be able to get the deal done. But that'll do it for this news edition of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 10,000. It's going to take a while to get there, but we really appreciate all the support you guys have been showing us. I'm Josh Goss for my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.